In a world saturated with noise, distractions, and half-baked truths, where stories are spun faster than facts can breathe, and public opinion is shaped long before evidence even sees the light. We're not here to stir outrage. We're not playing sides, pushing narratives, or chasing clicks. We're here to cut through the fog, to bring the truth, raw, real, and often uncomfortable. Our judgments are built on transparency, logic, and actual evidence, not on assumptions, not on headlines, and definitely not on emotional bait. We're not here to tell you what to think. We're here to give you everything you need so you can decide what's real. Welcome to Truth Unfiltered with Critical Thinkers, where the truth is louder than the mob. Today, we're taking you beyond hashtags and fan fury into the meticulous, sometimes maddening, world of South Korea's legal system. Our focus, the defamation case involving actor Kim Soo Hyun, YouTube channel Garo Sero Research Institute, and explosive allegations that have rocked Korean entertainment. So let's ask the hard question: what does justice look like in an age of digital accusations and trial by internet? It's completely understandable. Fans are angry, confused, and desperate for answers. When someone as beloved as Kim Soo Hyun is caught in the crosshairs of scandal, there's an instinctive urge to defend him, demand clarity, and expect immediate action. But here's the thing: emotion doesn't equal evidence, and online outrage doesn't set legal precedent. South Korea's legal system, especially its defamation laws, is built not on public sentiment, but on proof, process, and patience. It's a system influenced by Confucian values, where honor, reputation, and harmony often outweigh Western ideals of free speech. And that's where we begin. Let's break down the framework. Defamation in Korea is both a criminal and civil offense. And yes, even true statements can land you in jail if they hurt someone's reputation without a strong public interest. Here's a snapshot. Criminal defamation under Articles 307 to 309. True but harmful statements? Up to 2 years in prison. False and harmful ones? Up to 5 years. Defaming the dead? Also punishable. Doing it through mass media like YouTube? The penalties are steeper, up to 7 years. But here's the twist. Under Article 310, if the defendant can prove the statement was true and in the public interest, the charge can be dismissed. But proving that? It's not easy. Civil defamation allows victims to sue for damages or demand public apologies. And under the Network Act, online platforms like YouTube must take down harmful content and cooperate with investigations. Sounds straightforward? In theory, maybe. In practice, let's look into it in more detail. According to Article 307(1) of Korea's Criminal Act, publicly alleging true but reputation-damaging facts can lead to up to 2 years imprisonment or a fine up to $5 million. This means that simply stating a verified truth, such as someone's criminal record or infidelity, can still be punishable if it is judged to harm their public standing without sufficient public interest justification. According to Article 307(2), publicly alleging false facts carries harsher penalties, up to 5 years imprisonment, suspension of professional qualifications, up to 10 years, or a fine up to $10 million. The law recognizes the greater social harm caused by deliberate falsehoods, especially when they are spread in mass media or social platforms. According to Article 309, spreading defaming facts through newspapers, magazines, radio, or similar channels with intent to defame carries even steeper sanctions. If the facts stated actually happened, the offender can be sentenced to 3 years imprisonment or $7 million fine. If the facts are false, the offender can be sentenced to up to 7 years imprisonment, suspension of qualifications up to 10 years, or $15 million fine. These increased penalties reflect the broader and more lasting impact that traditional and mass media can have on a person's reputation. According to Article 310, a defamation charge is invalid if the defendant proves that the alleged facts were true or reasonably believed to be true, and that publication served the public interest, and courts assess not only the truth of the statements, but also the motive behind disclosure, whether it was journalistic integrity or malicious intent. But it is important to note that a case of defamation against a living person is prosecutable only if the victim does not object to prosecution. These conditions give the alleged victim or their family significant control over whether a case proceeds. In cases of civil defamation, Civil Act, Article 764, victims may sue for monetary damages and/or seek suitable measures, e.g., public apology or retraction, to restore their reputation. This allows individuals to pursue reputational recovery without the involvement of the criminal justice system. Monetary compensation is often symbolic in Korean courts, with more emphasis placed on the issuing of apologies or correctional statements. Article 44 of Network Act prohibits circulating defamatory or privacy-violating content online, including videos, posts, and images on social media, forums, and video platforms. Service providers must take steps to prevent such content on their platforms, including removing harmful posts upon request and retaining user information for potential legal use. This act works in conjunction with the Criminal Act, ensuring internet platforms remain accountable for hosting harmful or false content. So how does this apply to Kim Soo Hyun? In March 2025, Kim Soo Hyun's agency, Gold Medalist, launched both civil and criminal suits. The targets? Garo Sero Research Institute, for alleging a romantic relationship with actress Kim Soo Hyun when she was underage, and an anonymous individual claiming to be the late actress's aunt who brought the complaint to Garo Sero. The stakes? $12 billion in damages, roughly $8 million USD. The filing fee alone? $38 million. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are several obstacles that need to be cleared for the case to succeed. You can't sue a ghost, or in this case, an IP and a physical address. Korean law requires a named defendant. YouTube won't give up user data without a US court subpoena. That means weeks of legal back and forth just to find out who to charge. And even then, the process involves translating documents, gaining Ministry of Justice approvals, and coordinating across borders. Gold Medalist filed a civil suit for reputational damage and a criminal complaint for defamation, and each path has different judges, timelines, evidence rules. It's like running 3 marathons at once with no clear finish line. Garo Sero's allegations revolve around serious claims: grooming, underage dating. If true, it's catastrophic. If false, it's reputational assassination. Gold Medalist says the relationship began when Kim Soo Hyun was of age. The family says it started when she was 15. The court now has to analyze text messages, timestamps, phone backups, and chat logs. This isn't a Netflix docuseries. This is forensic work. Painstaking. Expensive. Slow. To invoke Article 310's truth defense, the accused must demonstrate that the reported statements were objectively true, or that they had reasonable cause to believe them to be true, and that the public had a legitimate interest in knowing. The burden of proof in Korean courts is stringent and demands authenticated documentation, such as chat records, eyewitness accounts, or digital footprints. This defense is notoriously difficult to invoke successfully. The court examines not just whether the statement is factually accurate, but also whether the intent behind its dissemination was malicious or served the public good. For example, even if an individual had access to text messages or digital files suggesting a relationship, unless that material is authenticated and shown to serve the greater public interest, such as revealing criminal behavior or systemic abuse, it may still result in a guilty verdict. The Korean judiciary tends to err on the side of protecting individual reputation, especially in sensitive, high-profile cases. In Kim Soo Hyun's case, the stakes are even higher because the statements in question, if proven false, carry the weight of serious criminal implications. False accusations of grooming or sexual misconduct do not only damage personal reputation, they can permanently derail careers, destroy trust with the public, and subject the accused to ongoing online harassment and emotional distress. Kim Soo Hyun's family has introduced alleged text messages suggesting a romantic relationship when she was just 15. Gold Medalist counters that their relationship began in 2019 when she had already reached adulthood, 18 plus. Validating these claims involves forensic analysis of phones, backup databases, and timestamps, tasks requiring weeks of expert involvement and coordination between tech companies and investigators. Forensic digital investigation is a meticulous process. Experts must verify when a message was sent, whether it was edited, and if it came from the accused's verified accounts. If the original devices are unavailable or factory reset, recovery becomes even harder. In such emotionally charged cases, courts are especially cautious to rule only on evidence that meets strict admissibility standards. They may also call upon third-party digital forensic firms or request assistance from platform providers like KakaoTalk, Apple, or Google to obtain encrypted backups or metadata logs. Moreover, conflicting narratives can complicate the timeline. If any of the evidence presented by Kim Soo Hyun's family is found to be manipulated, it could itself constitute a criminal offense, e.g., falsification of evidence or obstruction of justice. Conversely, if gold medalists' counterclaims rely on incomplete or cherry-picked data, the court could reject the truth defense outright. The risk for both parties is considerable, and the burden to produce comprehensive, unassailable proof rests squarely on the defendant. Given the cultural stigma surrounding sexual impropriety, especially involving minors, the court's evidentiary threshold is even higher. Judges may consult expert witnesses, including psychologists, digital forensics specialists, and media ethics scholars, to determine the credibility and social relevance of the material. All this contributes to a lengthier, more resource-intensive trial process. Even small things, like a typo in a defendant's address, can delay filings. Add to that the crushing caseload of Seoul's courts, and just scheduling a preliminary hearing becomes a months-long endeavor. This isn't just about one actor's reputation. The Korean entertainment industry is a 20 trillion soft power machine. One rumor can cancel a drama, destroy endorsements, and send stock prices into freefall. Judges know this. Prosecutors know this. So do netizens. That pressure? It's always there. Quiet, heavy, watching. Let's be clear. Gold medalist is not the law. They are, at best, a buffer between the artist and the storm. But once the case enters court, it's out of their hands. Gold medalist is not the investigative authority. They are not the police, not the prosecutors, and certainly not the courts. They can collect evidence, file complaints, pay fees and hire lawyers, but they can't subpoena YouTube, access private data, and interrogate the accused. Their role is to protect their artist to the best of their ability within legal and ethical boundaries. This includes collecting and documenting evidence of defamation, false accusations, or malicious content, and submitting it to legal authorities. Talent agencies in South Korea often function as both public relations managers and legal shields, but they are limited by the frameworks of administrative law. While GM may seem like a powerful entity from a media perspective, its actual role in criminal matters is bureaucratic. It can advocate, gather preliminary data, and consult legal advisors, but it cannot enforce subpoenas, compel testimony, or interrogate offenders. Moreover, their hands are often tied by privacy laws, which prevent them from accessing or sharing certain types of digital evidence without state authorization. Once this handoff occurs, the responsibility lies with the investigative and judicial system. The biggest question for fans is, why does it take so long? In Korea, defamation cases, especially those involving public figures, often stretch over months or even years due to the sheer complexity and public sensitivity involved. These delays are compounded by an overburdened judiciary, limited resources, and the need to conduct parallel investigations, such as those involving digital forensics, media ethics evaluations, and public interest assessments. The courts must also navigate a minefield of competing narratives. In high-profile cases like Kim Soo Hyun's, prosecutors and judges often face pressure not only from the legal community, but also from public opinion, activist groups, and the entertainment industry. This means more frequent hearings, re-examinations of evidence, and motions filed by both parties to admit new material or challenge the admissibility of previously accepted documents. Each motion, however minor, can delay proceedings by weeks, especially if experts must be brought in to testify. Because these cases unfold under the harsh spotlight of the media, every new leak, post, or article related to the scandal can influence public perception, and often, unintentionally, the legal process itself. While judges are expected to remain impartial, in reality, sensationalism adds pressure for the court to get it right, slowing down rulings and increasing procedural caution. Additionally, the legal teams representing celebrities often pursue civil litigation in tandem with criminal complaints. This dual-track strategy, criminal defamation and civil damages, results in procedural entanglements. For example, evidence submitted in one court may be delayed pending its review in the other, especially if under protective orders or sealed status. Kim Soo Hyun's case involves not only his management agency, gold medalist, but also former agencies, digital platforms, advertisers, and potentially international stakeholders. Each of these parties may submit amicus briefs, third-party claims, or even file independent lawsuits, further complicating the timeline. Additionally, contracts with global brands often contain morality clauses that are automatically triggered by legal allegations, regardless of guilt, adding a layer of urgency and complexity to resolving the matter. The legal team must also weigh public relations considerations when timing disclosures or responses. A poorly timed statement can backfire, reigniting public backlash or leading to speculative reporting that prejudices the case. In Korea's tightly knit entertainment law landscape, agencies often hire media lawyers not just for legal expertise, but for strategic narrative control, ensuring that procedural delays are framed as due diligence, not evasion. Courts prioritize urgent or time-sensitive criminal cases over defamation trials, which are considered non-violent and reputational in nature. This often means that even if both parties are prepared to move forward, they may face long wait times for court dates. Moreover, if a key witness or expert becomes unavailable due to scheduling conflicts, the entire case may be postponed until all relevant parties can be present. In cases involving cross-examination of witnesses or digital evidence experts, especially those based overseas or with full caseloads, this can lead to unpredictable extensions. The court may also delay hearings until all digital evidence has been fully authenticated and corroborated by at least 2 independent sources, adding additional layers of verification. So what happens next? In cases involving anonymous online commenters, fake accounts, or defamatory content, authorities must track down the individuals behind these actions, which can be complex and time-consuming. The complexity arises from digital anonymity. While South Korea has one of the most advanced cyber forensic units in Asia, even they must navigate VPN obfuscation, overseas server jurisdictions, and data encryption. Every digital breadcrumb must be verified through legal channels, often requiring cooperation from private tech companies, some of which may be based abroad. Tracing a single comment can take weeks or even months. Once identified, these individuals must be questioned and investigated thoroughly to ensure the case can stand in court. A case doesn't end with identification. It truly begins there. Investigators must prove intent, falsity, and malicious impact. This involves examining communication logs, metadata, and establishing patterns. Witnesses may need to be cross-examined and digital evidence authenticated. What looks like a simple tweet may require days of forensic validation. Police submit findings to prosecutors who determine if charges can be filed. This is often the silent graveyard of many online defamation cases. Prosecutors weigh the public interest against the evidentiary weight and legal threshold. If a case lacks clear evidence of malice or significant reputational damage, it may never reach the courtroom. If charges are approved, court dates are set. Witnesses are deposed. Lawyers from both sides prepare their cases. Trial prep is not just about law, it's also about strategy. Legal teams prepare narratives, anticipate counter-arguments, and gather precedent to strengthen their case. This involves coordination with third-party experts, cyber specialists, and sometimes therapists to document emotional or psychological harm. Only after this long process can a case be tried and a verdict rendered. Even after a verdict, appeals are common. A resolved case may take years to reach true finality, and by then, public attention may have moved on, leaving victims to privately process the aftermath of a highly public trauma. And meanwhile, Kim Soo Hyun waits. The internet speculates, and justice crawls forward. We live in an age where virality is power and digital reputation is currency. But justice? Real justice? It doesn't trend, it doesn't click, it demands diligence. So before we rush to judgment on YouTubers, on agencies, on actors, let's pause. Let's ask not just what's true, but how we know it's true. Because in the court of law, proof beats passion every time. At Critical Thinkers, we stand by one thing: truth that doesn't flinch. Because the moment we stop questioning the system, we become the very system we hate. You're tuned into Truth Unfiltered, brought to you by Critical Thinkers, where the truth speaks louder than the mob. Like, share, Subscribe, not just to game the algorithm, but to stay awake in a world built to numb you. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.